So I'll welcome her deputy chair in person of Uju to give us a welcome address. Uju, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Ayobami. Greetings, everyone, and good morning to our masterclass trainer, Mr. Godfrey Adejumoh. I greet you specially. Welcome to ACCA Women's Network. On behalf of our convener and chair, Mrs. Victoria Abiola Ajayi, we warmly welcome you to ACCA Women's Network. So, who are we? Just in case somebody outside the network is joining us, and for you, Mr. Godfrey as well, we're interacting with you officially for the very first time. So let me say a little thing, one or two things about us. So we were convened in 2020, March 8th, in commemoration of International Women's Day. So our aim really is to be a network for ACCA qualified women in Nigeria. So far, we have grown to become over 270 plus members. I just checked this morning and I was wowed. As of December, we were just 257. Now we've grown to 270 plus members. So our aim really is just by our pillar, TMAC, T for training, mentoring, advocacy, and career development. So through these pillars, we deliver value to our members and even the society in general. So we are happy to have you in our midst. One of my accounting professor will, Mr. Olabi, yes, Professor Olabi of the Lagos Business School, will often remind us that accounting is the language of business. And so therefore, it means that for us to really be very impactful, we need to become experts at communication and storytelling. And that's really why we are having this webinar this morning. Whether you're trying to make presentation to the board, to the shareholders, or even your team members, becoming very skillful and being able to communicate effectively can help to amplify our impact. So I encourage us all to pay good attention. In the next 60 minutes, we know it's Saturday morning, I'm not going to keep it for too long, but I've seen the track record of our trainer, and I believe that a lot of value will be taken out of this session. So please, above all things, I'm one person that I love to learn, and when I learn, I make sure I start using it immediately. So let's make sure that whatever we pick up from here, we begin to use it immediately. Thank you. And back to you, Ayo.
Yeah, thank you very much, our chairperson, for the welcome address. We appreciate and thank you very much, Godfrey, for joining us, for accepting and joining us on this session this morning. So I'll just read Godfrey's profile to everyone. Godfrey Adejumoh is a seasoned top performing corporate affairs and sustainable business leader with extensive experience in sustainable business and development, corporate social responsibility, corporate communications, external relations, campaign planning, implementation, and policy advocacy. With over 15 years of experience, Godfrey has contributed to the reputation management of different multinationals with a proven track record of spearheading initiatives and developing strategies to help reposition companies to maintain growth within a, within a sustainable development network. As the head corporate affairs and sustainable business at Unilever Nigeria, it supports the business with enhanced narratives in its mission to drive sustainable growth. Godfrey is a rare talent resource that has grown through his career journey from public relations consultancies to core corporate communications, sustainability, external affairs, community relations, C-suites or board advisors, and more. He has a keen interest in understanding the full breadth of organizational structure to contribute to high performance for businesses with reputable winning models. He has a master's degree from the University of Lagos and a first degree from the University of Benin. He is a member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, NIPR, and the Institute of Directors, IOD. As an industry thought leader, Godfrey shares his thoughts and insights on businesses through speaking sessions and write-ups. Over the years, he spent quality in discovering and mentoring the next generation of business leaders through his speaking and mentorship session. Let's all give a thumbs up or a clapping hands emoji to welcome Godfrey. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And good morning from across the world. I see out
So,
Lagos, out Nigeria, and I can only say great people, great women. And when I thought about this session in my mind, I was like, these are women doing different things in their different ways. And here they are, they deem it necessary to save, despite it being a weekend, being a Saturday when they're supposed to probably relax from all the stress of Monday to Friday. They still deem it necessary to have this session. So from me to you, is a thank you for the opportunity and to commend you for being available for this, despite the challenges probably you might be dealing with, which necessarily may not necessarily be negative. Challenges are not necessarily negative. And just to say thank you to Ayobami, my former colleague, and I've also now left the place where we were colleagues together. But the beauty is that we are now more than colleagues, we're friends, and we're keeping in touch even outside of where we met. And just to add, if it's not too much, congratulations on your newly launched book. I followed you. Unfortunately, I could not be there, but I'm rooting for you. And so I'm rooting for everyone who is here as well. The last thing I want to say as background is a professional colleague of you guys, also in ACH, he reached out to me. We were neighbors before and said, I see you're having a session with our female colleagues. And they said I should send his greetings to you guys. He is the head of audit at Falcon Oil and Gas, Mr. Wale Olaogun. I don't know how many of you will know him, but that's his name for those who know him. So just to say that in a way, I have found myself not being a total stranger to you guys, despite me not being an accountant. So the session has started because I'm already coming. And probably in my communication, you might be sensing how is he talking, how is he taking his tone, how is he sharing his ideas. That's how communication really is. It is the ability to pass a message from one person to another. And the truth is, we are all communicators. It doesn't matter whether you're practicing the profession as a communication professional or you're a non-communication professional. And like Madam Chair mentioned, as accountants, the truth is you have to be very good at communicating. I worked with Polake, with Ayobami, the core finance team. And trust me, every time as a listed company where every 3 months you're expected to announce your results, you're going to the board, the entire business and financial structure and strategy rests with you. Whether people are in supply chain, they're in planning, they're in sales, they're in marketing. The truth is, without the financial team, the finance team, the organization will be directionless. The organization will be without a purpose. And when I saw that, we work very closely together. AGM conversation. AGM is deeply, deeply a finance objective and planning with the legal team. So all of this, you have to communicate what you are doing part-time, what you're advising the team part-time to the larger organization. So I'm here to tell you that each and every one of you, you are already communicators. And perhaps maybe what you are just here to hear is to enhance what you are already doing. And now, when you are communicating, I'm going to share my slide. And it's, the goal is not to be here for long. The goal is for us to make impact in the few minutes that we're going to be here. Now, when you are communicating as a mother to a child, as a spouse to a husband, as a manager to someone, or even as a subordinate to someone, you are passing a message. The storytelling part of it is probably you now structure it in a way that when you leave the person, it is memorable. The person thinks back, the person feels relaxed, the person feels, oh, I like the way I was spoken to. I like the way I was even criticized without being judged. That is where storytelling comes in. Communication is basically passing message from one person to another. The storytelling part is probably you trying to make it juicy, trying to make it interactive, trying to make it interesting and memorable such that a long time after the person leaves you or you leave each other, that thing continues to remain in your head. And if I share some practical example, like from primary to secondary to university, we all had different teachers, different lecturers, but there were some that maybe when you're reading their course for an exam, for a continuous assessment, it feels like you can hear their voice. It feels like the person is right in front of you talking to you. That person is probably a storyteller. There's another person that you do not look forward to reading his or her course. There's another person that, despite your best effort at reading that course, you still do not get it, not because you are not a brilliant person, but because maybe the way the message was passed to you was not engaging enough. That's me trying to differentiate between communication that is basic and communication that is laced with a bit of storytelling strategy. Now, let me share my slides so that we go into the meat of the matter as I've put together for all of us. Okay. So please confirm to me when you can see the full slides. Can you see it on the full slide show now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, let me preempt us what the goal of this session is for me. The goal is to achieve two things. Number one, clarity. Number one, simplicity. I repeat, the goal for me is to provide clarity and to provide simplicity. Clarity for me will be for you to understand that the act of storytelling is not rocket science. The act of storytelling is not ambiguous. It's not something that you must go and do one certification. You must go to one place to pay and have a certain amount. It is basic thing of keep it simple. And that's where the simplicity comes in. And when you pass a message from one person to another, the simpler you keep it, the clearer you keep it. That is where your storytelling comes in. So the first point, I have just 5 points to share. It begins with master the art of clarity. We all talk, we all share ideas. What is it that makes people give feedback that I don't understand? What is it that makes people give feedback that I don't know what you're talking about? It is the lack of clarity on the way you have communicated. So clarity simply means as much as possible, be concise. As much as possible, focus on the point you want to pass. So there's a lot of people that they want to share something, they digress. From the digression they have made, they digress again. From the second digression they've made, maybe they start telling one unrelated story. And before you know it, if you take it back to where you started from, you are being told something, they move to the next step, maybe in an attempt to try to explain to you what they are telling you, they digress. But from the digression they make, they further digress to another subject. And from that second subject, which is like the third layer, they now bring in an unrelated story. And before you know it, while you might have been interested in what they might have passed, you might have been excited, you might have enjoyed listening to it, it doesn't mean that you have understood what they actually want to say. So that is a point of focus on your message. That is what it means to provide and master the art of clarity. I want to go to Lagos market to buy some shirts for myself. These are the colors I want to buy. By the time you get to the market, stick to your reason for going there. I am here to buy some shirts for office work. These are the colors I want to stay within. What that does is, no matter what is brought to you, no matter how enticing, how fanciful it is looking, you understand that the reason why you are here is, number one, I want to buy office shirts. Number two, I am staying within a particular range of colors. That is what clarity means. The danger of not providing clarity is that there will be misunderstanding, there will be misinterpretation, there will be misconception. And at the end of the day, you will start, have you not seen situations where someone grants a press conference or someone just had a side conversation with A, and the next thing there's a sensational negative headline across media channel, and the original person who shared the message said, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. That is because in the original message that was passed, the act of clarity was not mastered, and therefore you leave room for a lot of misinterpretation and everything that can become negative. The last thing I want to share here is that please, in your clarity, you must resonate with your audience, because clarity helps you to keep your message simple and stay with your audience in a way that you will not lose them. I'm moving to point 2, except anyone has anything to feedback on this first point before I move on, just to pause for 30 seconds before I move to the next slide. Okay, moving to the next slide now. Now, clarity is not enough. Oh, I am going to Lagos market to buy office shirts. This is the range of color I want to stay within. The next thing that you must provide in addition to clarity, is a structure. Please remove the word powerful. I just put it there maybe to make use, because they are professionals, in branding and packaging, you might want to do a bit of physics, but you can actually, the word powerful is non-essential. Craft a narrative and put a structure to it. Just imagine structure like we're taught in basic English, letter writing. There is introduction, there is the body, there is the conclusion. Introduction could be pleasantries for informal letter. The body could be, you have 2 reasons why you're writing. And the conclusion, it could be wishing the person well until you meet again. That is a structure. So when you say, oh, in my storytelling, for you to be a good storyteller, be clear. That's what was established as point number 1. Master the act of clarity. Number 2 is put a structure to how you want to land the message. Do you want to land the message from the end before the beginning? Do you want to land the message in a sequential order that you are building from foundation? You lay your bricks, you dig the floor, you put your concrete, you start to put the bricks step onto the roofing stage, onto the plastering, onto the painting, onto the interior. That is just trying to literally paint a picture of what it means to put a structure to it. Putting structure to it means, how do you want to start? How do you want to build momentum to pass your message? How do you want to climax your message? And what you do in the process of this is that you carry people along. It's like you are the pilot of the aircraft. They have boarded, they have all seated. You've given them the safety measures. You've given them, if this happens, this should that. And at the end of the day, as you are journeying through, you are giving them update to say, or probably 2 hours away from landing. At this point in time, weather is clear. You are taking them along in a way that even before they arrive, they have a sense of safety. They have a sense of pleasure. They have a sense of fulfillment flying with you. That is what it means to have a structure. But just imagine you enter the aircraft, nobody tells you anything, and you are lost. Probably it's even your first time of flying, or even if it's not your first time of flying, it's possible it's your first time of flying that airline. It's possible it's your first time of flying that route. It's possible it's your first time of flying to that destination. You need someone to take you through and give you a sense of how will this look like, and you'll be able to paint a picture in your head to say, okay, I have not been there, or even if I have been there, this is, and that will you to tell your story in a way that you have carried your audience along. They understand your beginning, they understand the body of what you have said, and you've understood how you landed your message. That is what it means to create a structure. In creating a structure, you must be very concise to say, what do I want to achieve? At what point do I want to land the message in a way that after this point, even if the people do not have time to listen to me again, they have gotten the message. That is point 2 in the act of storytelling. Point 1 again, master the act of clarity. We said keep it concise, stay focused on your message. And point 2, we've just established, put a structure to it, because that you are clear does not mean you can pass the message nicely. You have to put a structure to say, this is the process, this is the sequence, and how you wrap it up. That is point 2. Before we move to point 3, please, I'll pause again for 30 seconds if there are any feedback, questions from the room. Okay, the next point as we move on is this. People tend to think that because they are the subject matter experts, that because they are the experienced people, that because they are the most knowledgeable in the room, all of that nuances, people tend to think that their job is just to keep talking, 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 and talking. And even when someone else tries to raise an idea, share, even to support your own idea, you have a way of just ensuring that in the room, you are the loudest. In the room, you are the most active. In the room, you are the one that is unmissable by everybody. The truth is, in the act of storytelling, the act of learning to listen actively is very key. Is very key. Because if you do not listen, the truth is you are likely going to jump into conclusion. You are likely going to make resolutions that do not resonate with the need of the people. The act of active listening is simply you putting yourself in the shoes of the people you are talking to, a bit of moving away from sympathy to empathy, and ask yourself, what do these people want? Different people go to hospitals for different reasons. And from my experience, the standard procedure is from vitals, you see the doctor, talk to the doctor. Most likely, the chances are very high the doctor will say, go for this test based on what you have shared with me. The outcome of what the doctor is going to recommend as what should be your medication, your next step of treatment will be as a result of what the result of the test shows. I am liking that act of taking you to a lab for a test to the act of active listening. The doctor could have said, I am a doctor because you have said that based on patterns, repeated patterns, this is what is wrong with you. Therefore, I just write this and say, go to the pharmacist and that. you are likely going to have an exception. To prevent that exception from becoming a negative experience, because life is involved, you hold yourself and say, please go for a test. The test can come back and confirm what you already thought, what you already knew. But just that process of being patient to say, go for a test and come back is active listening. So the truth is, the act of listening does not reduce what you know. It doesn't reduce your level. It doesn't reduce your worth. It doesn't reduce your value. It only puts you in a position where you know the needs of your audience better. And you can now use your expertise, your experience to communicate and share with them what you know is a solution to their need. So again, if you flip it back to where we're coming from, we said everybody communicates. What makes it interesting as storytelling is the way you share it. That when you leave that place, the people years down the line, they begin to say, I like that. And we remember when we use this terms of different teachers, different lecturers. In fact, even as I talk now, it's possible there's a teacher, you can literally hear the voice. You love the way he or she passes this or a message. That's a good storyteller. How did they achieve that? Number one, they master the act of clarity. They stay on their message. They keep it simple. Number two, they structure their message in a way that you can follow them like a sequence, logical. And number three, we have now said, you, as good as you are in your industry, you are the best. You are the employer of the month. You are the best performing sales person. You are the most analytical finance person in the room. We're saying, despite that, for you to be a good storyteller, practice, practice, and practice again the act of listening. It will help you to understand the audience better. Again, we'll pause. I have just two more points. I'll wrap this up for 30 minutes, for 30 seconds before we move to point 4, which is the penultimate point. Okay, now, this has become extremely necessary in the world that we now live in. Once upon a time, it's got to be very bulky, it's got to be very text-driven for them to know that you're a strong communicator. But we're now in an era where visuals, imageries are very key to communicating, because the attention span and the ability for people to read and retain what they read is drastically dropping. But there is the power in imagination, which is what visuals can do for your audience when you communicate using visuals. And even you, when you're speaking, you use some vocal cues. You know when to pause. You know when to gesticulate in a way that resonates with the audience. These are very strong methodologies that make your storytelling extremely, extremely powerful. You can't go to a session to make a presentation and all your presentation is so worthy, is so full of text, maybe references, this, that, nothing engaging, nothing exciting, nothing creative. You will lose your audience because you are not connecting with them using the power of videos, storytelling that can impact and add value to them. The simple use of visuals, how you talk, how you express yourself, how you vary from one level to another. At some point in time, you tone up. At some point in time, you take it easy. At some point in time, you are expressive in certain way that they literally put themselves in that scenario that you are painting. Oh, you are flying. You're in a race, Formula One. Oh, at some point, you are just taking it easy. You are just cruising. You are holidaying. No rush. No deadline. no meeting for 12 a.m., for 12 noon, for 1 p.m., on and on. Like, you are just relaxed. You have the ability to make all of this connect to people in a way that even your body language, without you talking, by the way you have expressed yourself, moved your body, showed some signs, and use of visuals and vocal cues, you have passed the message, and the audience can just resonate with you. There is a comedian, is from France, I think with a Senegalese background. I try to forget his name now. The truth is, he's gained so much fame, so much impact in his career, but he has never said a word. He's black. He's a French person. He's black. He was a factory worker during COVID. He was laid off, and he started doing skits by not talking. Guess what? That is a form of storytelling. Today, he has a lot of brand endorsement, global brands across industries. But to date, his style of comic, his style of comedy, his style of communicating, he has not said a word. He will just go and demonstrate something and use his hand to say, why can't you do this? Why are you doing that? Again, you will even notice that if you look at where we started from, clarity, simplicity, his messaging is simply on, can we keep it simple? And that alone has made him who he is today. The last but not the least point, so I don't bore you, because I know it's Saturday, you must go back to home, face your work, is please, I say this, dimension your audience. It is extremely important, even in the workplace. Even if you're an entrepreneur, you're into consulting, whatever you're doing, you're even into sales of one product or the other. The truth is, we now have a mixed generation of people that we're dealing with. The baby boomers who were born from 80 and backward, the millennials who are from between 81 to 96, the Gen Z that are from 98 to I think 2013, and no 2020 Gen Z workforce. So part-time organization, no matter how small, no matter how large it is, that will be with the baby boomers. The communication that's effective for each generation is different. The way you will talk to the older generation, the baby boomers, is not the same way you talk to the millennials. It's not the same way you talk to the millennials, you will talk to the Gen Zs. It varies. Now, if you are now in a space where it is a mix of all of them, it means you've got to be eclectic in a way that it's a mix of everything to keep everyone engaged. So that is extremely important, because if you are disconnected from your audience, no matter how much you have put in so much effort to prepare for that session, the truth is you are not connecting with them. And when you disconnect with them, you are not communicating, not to talk of even being a storyteller. So if we flip back to the summary of this whole session, we said the goal is to provide clarity. And we established that you, at your level as executive, you are already good communicators. You probably just want to enhance it by becoming a storyteller. Be very mindful when people come on stage and the first thing they say is, I am a storyteller. Most times they don't engage the audience. It is not a buzzword. It is what you live and what you just do effortlessly. For you to be able to do that, master the art of clarity. Build a structure to how you want to land your message. Be an active listener. And the fourth point is use visuals. And the last but not the least, know your audience. It is at this point in time I say thank you for the opportunity. This is what I do. Like Ayobami said, you want to reference me, you want to search for me across social media channel. It is simply my name, Godfrey Adejumoh. Thank you, everyone.
Wow,
Mm.
that was an amazing session and straight to the point. Thank you very much, Godfrey. Thank you so much. And one of the points that really like struck my attention is number three, like listening. A lot of time we want to speak, but how often do we get to listen? So we need to practice active listening so that we can understand. For us to be effective communicator, we have to like listen as much as people speak to understand. Because one thing I do is a lot in my work is I listen a lot. And when you ask me to do something, I ask questions to get clarity before I take actions to do anything. Thank you very much, Godfrey. This is really an eye-opener. It was brief, short, straight to the point. And I like the way you were speaking to like, the communication thing. It's in you. Thank you very much. So please, if you have questions, start dropping. So now we'll go straight to the Q&A sessions so that we don't we allow people go back to their business of the day. So in a situation, Busola asks this question, in a situation where your accent is different from others, it often appears that they don't understand your diction. How do you ensure you carry them along?
Yeah, I just read that question now, and I can completely resonate with that. I had the opportunity of doing multi countries in a recent trip that I went on. I was in Qatar, spent some days in Doha, I transitioned to the UK, and truth is, in those few days I spent there, I realized that, see, the world is more diverse than we think and can imagine. And for me, because I went as a tourist and I wanted to see some things, nice places for the time I was there was a lot of me not knowing where I'm going to and having to rely on people. So, and this was very my experience where the person you're talking to is from the UAE. Their accent is different, so you talk and talk, and they're not passing your message. Okay, you get to the train station, the person that is attending to you is even your own fellow African from East Africa. Even as that, like in that context of you being out of your continent, you feel comfortable. Oh, this one is one of my own. It's from Africa. It's even Black Africa, not white Africa. But you realize that when you start talking, we are not on the same page, on and on like that. But I started to, then when I got to the UK, my first encounter was more of the non-indigens, being the British. It was more of the Indians that I was seeing all around me. The hotel I stayed, they were the ones in charge, at the airports, the people to direct you to the immigration. A lot of Indians, Pakistan, Bangladesh, it was all very in a space where it was a bit of it was strange, to be honest. So I'm just trying to acknowledge that in the world that we now live in, this is real. And sometimes when you work in a multinational and you are even on a remote job, the people you're connecting on a daily operational job, they are not of the same tribe, of the same background, of the same language with you. Now, follow the principle of what we said. That first point of clarity, keep it simple. What do you want in my experience? I want to go to point A to point B. I want to see this place. They said it's a tourist center. They said it's London Eye. They said it's Big Ben. They said it's the Museum of Illusion. They said it's this. Keep it simple. I want to go to this place. Most times, while they might not have understood you in the fullness of how you have said it, they get a sense of what you want to do. And they will now use their own local intelligence to guide you, which is where you have to pivot to that part of listening, active listening. So it is not just enough for you to keep it simple. It's that as you have kept it simple by being very clear on what you want, you also quickly move to that part of listen. And when you are listening, listen in an unbiased way. So don't try to listen in a way that you want to hear the Igbo accent, you want to hear the Yoruba accent, you want to hear the Edo accent. No, listen with an open mind to say, what are they saying? And just be adaptive. I don't know if that answers the question. So my response to that is please practice active listening and also be very clear. Then when you talk about practical example of how best to communicate with baby boomers, millennials, and Gen Zs, is a mix of everything, a mix of everything. But there are certain things that can pass for all generations, especially if the communication is going to be like templated. So I learned something recently. In the AGM we had, there was a standard press release, which is one page, about 4, 5, maximum 6 paragraphs, and that was fine. But the same press release, which is the traditional way of writing press release, we translated it to infographics. So infographics became a bit of more of visuals and focusing more on the major points. So for instance, let me use Unilever in 2024 as an instance. The turnover was 149 billion. And the percentage of that versus last year was 44% increment, which is almost like half, almost half of what they did the prior year. While for the baby boomer, that press release is okay for them. For the Gen Zs, they will tell you, I can't read that text. But with the infographics, they were able to connect. And that is my practical way of how to tell you, when you're engaging a mix of different generations, understand that there is what work for each person. Make the options available such that when they see, it's like going to a buffet, you get there, the chances are very high that you will see what you like and not be left hungry without eating at the event that you went for. I don't know if that answers the question. I'm scrolling down. How do you ensure that we're not diverted when questions are raised or interruptions come from the audience? Again, you, the presenter, be very structured, which is where we said it is not enough to be clear. So you've gone there and say, you know what, I have just 3 points. But perhaps you have not tried to put a structure to how do you land the 3 points. Because you have not put a structure to it, when questions come, you find yourself, you have moved from Makoko to Aja, from Aja to Bejuleki, from Bejuleki to Ikorodu, and before you know it, you are all over the place and you have even forgotten your 3 points, as few and as short as they are. So have a pattern such that because the truth is your ability to master and manage disruption in public speaking is what makes you a great storyteller. Don't go there and expect that it's just going to be in and out. It's going to be a straight jacket. If it is, congratulations. But 80+%, it will not be. So when you have that structure in place, it will help you to manage such disruptions. I don't know if that answers the question. Those are all the questions I can see on the chat for now.
That's all the question. Your ability to manage disruption makes you a great storyteller. Thank you for that sharp point. Please, does any other person have any question? Any other question? Any other question? You can raise your hand if you have a question. Any question? I see that our chair is on the call, Victoria Ajayi. Thank you for joining. So Victoria Ajayi is the CEO of TVC, Godfrey, and she just joined the call. I don't know if she can speak or something because she's at an event. So that was why Uju stepped in for her to speak to us. So thank you for—
Hello, Ayobami. I don't know if everyone can hear me.
I hear you.
Thank you so much for this. Thank you so much. I listened, and I'm in a quiet place just so that I can chip in. Thank you so much, Mr. Godfrey. This was very insightful and very punchy, very concise. The only thing I would add to everything you have said, because even I was taking note on my phone, of everything it was saying. I use stories a lot, and I have found that it connects more than any other thing. There are times where I have a lot of speaking engagements, and there are times where it's back to back, and I haven't really had time to prepare. But I have found that just telling your story, resonates even more than preparing any other thing that you want to prepare for people, and, a story in such, people connect. There's an emotional connection when they hear, your own story, as opposed to just pulling off examples from the air that people will not resonate with. So I think people just need to take time, especially as leaders, to sit down, understand, and craft their own story, craft something around their themselves, their industry, whatever it is they speak to the audience about, so that people can connect with them. Another thing I saw on the chat is someone asked a question, I think, give a practical example of how best to communicate with baby boomers, millennials, Gen Zs. Yes, the speaker already said you must know your audience, right? And you must ensure you bifurcate them so that you know how to connect. Now, I have a number of Gen Zs in and they have a and I'll tell you, do. They would say, and we call ourselves a great place to work. Look at what is happening in the company. Any little thing that happens, maybe it breaks down on the way, when their staff boss breaks down, they'll send a message, is this a great place to work? That's the way that's the way Gen Zs, they try to coerce management by accusing you. And so I called one of them one of those days and said, you see this terminology you all band around about, is this what you call a great place to work? And I told him a story, just a story. I said, you know what? Let's paint a picture, and I'm going to use you, your mother. Let's assume you are 3 in your family, and your mother, everyone knows, is a hardworking mother. She does everything to put the food on the table. She works not just 9 to 5, 9 to 9. She breaks her back. Everybody knows she's a good mother, right? She will do anything for her children, anything at all. She will, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes she's at work, working shifts just to give you the best. And then suddenly, you, particularly, you fail an exam. One exam that's very, very critical for you, you fail an exam. Does that mean your mother is a bad mother? With everything she has been doing, do you mean you're going to tell me that this woman everyone calls a good mother, does that mean your mother is now a bad mother because you failed an exam? His eyes and his countenance just dropped. I said, you see, but that's exactly what you're doing to the company. You're doing to management, saying, does that mean is this a great place to work? And I'm saying, does that mean your mother is a bad mother because you failed an exam? From that day, that guy became the apostle of great place to work. He was the one that anytime anyone says that thing, you'll be like, shut up. Shut up. So there's a way you can connect with certain generations of people. And I think storytelling, use of analogies sometimes put them in the picture, paint the picture such that let them walk in the shoes of that situation so that they come to a realization that, look, it's not as you think. When I put you in that scenario, put yourself in the same boat and see how you will fare. I don't want to go on because I really need to dash, but this has been a brilliant session, and I cannot say thank you enough to the speaker, to the organizers, to the team, career and development team, and to everyone who has actually set aside some time today to listen, to learn, to reskill themselves and upskill themselves. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Victoria. Yes, thank you. So this webinar was brought to you by the Career Development and Training team, which Sheyi Willoughby is the lead. Sheyi, please, can you just say a word then, does anybody still have any questions so that we can go? I think we can finish on the ha. Sheyi? Godfrey, do you have any?
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheyi. Yeah.
Good morning. Hi, Abami. Good morning, Godfrey. Thank you so much for your time. I'm in transit, so I'm sure you can hear. So I can turn on my video, but I'm in transit. Thank you so much. It's been a great learning session, short and punchy, and great things to take out. For me, it was understanding your audience, practice active listening. Who are you speaking with? How should you communicate to them? What's the best way that they're going to relate to that, to the message and all that, and being able to craft a compelling narrative, that takes them. And it's been such an interesting session this morning. Thank you so much, Ayobami, for coordinating this. I know we're leveraging Ayobami's relationship with Godfrey. Godfrey, we do appreciate you, and we hope that next time when we call on you, you'd be able to accede to a request and, speak to us again. It's been a great session. Thank you, everyone that has joined. And I wish everyone a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any closing words from you, Godfrey? Any closing words? Thank you, everyone. Please, yes, thank you. Please, any closing words from you, Godfrey? Let's give, please, let's start showing all the emojis to appreciate our speaker. Thank you.
For me, just keep it simple and be clear. Have a structure. Listen attentively.
Sorry, can I hear you, Godfrey?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I
Can you hear me?
I can hear, yes.
Oh,
please, can you all
okay. Just
Yes, Ayo, we can hear.
okay. So that's all from me. Keep it simple. Engage your audience and enjoy your time as always. You're all great people. By your profession, you can't be anything less. Thank you very much.
Yeah, please, everybody unmute and say thank you to our host, please. It was really simple. He managed that. We were thinking of 1 hour, 30 minutes, but he kept it very simple and punchy. As Nandila said this was short and punchy. Thank you for the insights. So, oh, can they hear me? Hello, can everyone hear me? Hello?
Edo, I'm not Yoruba.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm from Edo.
Okay. I've been wondering. Thank you for
I
responding.
actually thought so too. Nice.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest.
Are you Isha? Are you from Hauchi?
Yes, Akoko Edo, Igara side.
Akoko Edo. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay. All right then.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Bye.
you. Please fill the survey at the end. Please fill the survey.